Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we will continue from where we left. This is 8th chapter, Sloka number 15. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Since this temporary material world is full of miseries of birth, old age, death, disease, and death, naturally, he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literatures as Avyakta or Akshara and Parama Gati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision and it is inexplicable, but it is the highest goal, the destination of Mahatmas or great souls. The Mahatmas receive transcendental message from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. So they only want Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. That is the highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personalist devotees of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. These devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the supreme souls. So here we see that how those who are perfected in Krishna consciousness, they attain the planets of the Lord, and they are in association with the Lord, and they don't have any specific choice apart from being with the Lord and being engaged in service of the Lord. So that's their specific choice, and apart from that, they don't have anything else. No, they don't want to go to a particular planet or be in a particular place or something like that. Okay. Text 16. Abrahma bhuvanalokaah punaravirtinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Okay. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Purport: all kinds of yogi, that is karma, jnana, hatha, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and um, before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Right? Those who attain the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on the higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishads, that is, we saw in one of the purports before. So this particular Panchagni, this one, so this five kinds of yajna that is there. So the yogi or the performer of yajna in the earth. So he performs yajna in the, he puts his oblations into the fire, and then he wants to go to the heavenly planets. And in the heavenly planets, once he reaches there, so what is that? He again, once his punya is finished, he gets into the clouds, and then he falls down as rain, and then the rain actually gets into the grains, and then the grains is eaten by the man, and that becomes into semen, and that is impregnated into women, and in this way, again, a new progeny is brought about, and they will be performing yajna again to go back to the heavenly planets. So in this way, the Panchagni Vidya, so Chandogya Upanishad, we had seen in one of the purports before. So these kind of this ones, they will be keep on going around in this world. There is no question of liberation for them, right? So this is the materialistic way of performing sacrifice. There is no end to it. And Abrahma Bhavana Loka Punaravirtino Arjuna. That means all the planets in this world or in this universe are all material planets, and where repeated birth and death take place. Right? There is no permanent liberation over here. Okay. Like, yeah, the Panchagni Vidya recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad enables one to achieve Brahma Loka. But if on Brahma Loka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. You know, how much ever higher planets we want, we can go. But if we don't cultivate Krishna consciousness, then we'll have to come down. So better we can cultivate Krishna consciousness here only, so we can go to the spiritual planets directly. What's the point of going upgrading ourselves in the material planets? Even in other ways, what's the point of upgrading ourselves financially or economically and things like that? So anyway, these positions are not permanent. So the permanent position is Krishna consciousness and getting back to the spiritual world. So why not we do it immediately? Why to wait for some better material situation, right? So those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Baladev Vidyabhushan in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita quotes this verse: Brahmana sah te sarve samprapte pari sorry pratisanchare parasyante kritatmanah pravishyanti parampadam. When there is a devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. So generally the Brahmaloka, so everyone is devotees of the Lord, and at the time of devastation, naturally they get to the spiritual planets. But then why take risk of going till Brahmaloka? And it's a huge endeavor, and then from there to go back to Godhead. And there are many cases where even from Brahmaloka there is fall downs happen. So then better we can practice Krishna consciousness right here and then get back to the spiritual world, right? So text 17. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyat brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Purport: the duration of material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages, that is Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion. There being practically no ignorance and vice. And the yuga lasts for 17 lakh 28,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced. That means cheating, kind of this one. And in this yuga lasts 12 lakh 96,000 years. And in Dwapar Yuga, there is even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing. And this yuga lasts for 8,64,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the Yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non existent. And this Yuga lasts for 4,32,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the Yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki avatar, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satyuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These four yugas rotating 1,000 times comprise one day of Brahma, and the same number comprises one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years, and then he dies. These 100 years by earthly calculation total to 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. So this we studied in our Gita course time chapter. So in the level 2, we have this one presentation on the time, so where we discuss all this thing in great detail. So basically the Brahma's life 300 and trillion 40 billion, like huge amount of years, but it is just like a bubble, in the in the perspective of Mahavishnu in his causal ocean. So yashaika nishvashita kala matavalambya, right? So it is just by one breathing time, no universe is created, and it is destroyed as well. No, that is the Mahavishnu's calculation of time. So for him, 1 second or one breath time is what is the whole life of Lord Brahma. And what to say of our life? Our life is like non-existent, in that time frame. So that's how insignificant we are. That's how insignificant our lives are. It's very, very, very short-lived. Okay, in the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is indirectly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the management of this universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahma Loka, which is the highest planet in the material universe, and which survives all the heavenly heavenly planets in the upper strata of planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all inhabitants of Brahma Loka are subject to death according to the laws of material nature. Okay. Avyakta Vyaktayas sarvah prabhavantyahar agame ratri agame praliyante tatraiva vyakta samnyake. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Okay. So this is like during Brahma's night, the whole creation gets destroyed, that we studied in Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the Brahma's daytime, again Brahma starts creating. So every day he has to create everything again. Bhutagrama sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashapartha prabhavantyahar agame. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Purport: the less intelligent who try to remain within this material world may be elevated to the higher planets, and then again must come down to this planet Earth. During the daytime of Brahma, they can exhibit their activities on higher and lower planets within this material world, but at the coming of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night they no longer have bodies, but remain compact in the body of Vishnu. Then again they are manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. During the day they become manifest, and at night they are annihilated again. Ultimately, when Brahma's life is finished, They are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. And when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, they are captivated by the spell of the material world. But those intelligent persons who take to Krishna consciousness use the human life fully in devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus, they transfer themselves, even in this life, to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirths. Okay, text 20. Parastasmatu bhavonyo avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nasyat nashyatsu na vinashyati. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. So this is very nice sloka. Yet there is another unmanifest nature. That means the spiritual world is talked about. Here it is mentioned. Parastasmat bhavo anya. So that means para means like superior. Tasmat bhavo anya. So there is another one, another thing that is there. And what is its nature? Which is eternal and is transcendental, right? So to this manifested and unmanifested matter. So there is matter in two forms. One is in the manifested form and another is in unmanifested form. So in the unmanifested form, the matter is called pradhana or mahatattva. And in the manifested form, it takes different names like trees, human beings, animals, and buildings and machinery and things like that. So many different ways the matter manifests, and it can either be in any one of these two states, right? So, but this spiritual world, that is completely different from all these manifested and unmanifested matter, right? So it is supreme and it is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is, right? So that's the difference between spiritual nature and material nature. Material nature, how much ever wonderful it is, it must come to an end. Purport. Krishna's superior and spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite. Just a minute. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter. So, 7th chapter, we saw that Bhumi Rapo Analo Vayo Kammano Buddhirevacha. So, that is, he says, Binna Prakriti Rashtada. And then he says that Aparayam. No, till now, what has been explained is Apara. No, it is not superior, it's inferior. Aparayam. Itaswanyam Prakritin Vidhi Me Param. Jiva Bhuta. So, Jiva Bhuta is like the living entities are the Prakritin Vidhi Me Param. So, Para Prakriti or the superior energy compared to the matter. Right? So in this way, the superior and inferior energy are explained in the 7th chapter. And text 21, Avyaktokshara iti uktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivattante taddama paramam mama. Okay. He is describing about his own supreme abode. That which the Vedantas describe as the unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode, right? So how do we say Gita as a Upanishad? Because of this. So we see that the Upanishads talks like this. The Upanishads always talk about that absolute truth, who doesn't have any veins, who doesn't have any legs, who doesn't have any hands, and he is the supreme and things like that. So here we see that Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also uses the same language, which the Vedantas use, this kind of language. So that which the Vedantas describe as the unmanifest and infallible, unmanifest means that which cannot be seen, that which cannot be perceived directly by our material senses, and infallible, that is indestructible, right? And then which is known as the supreme destination. Everyone aims at, all the Vedic practitioners aims that param padam or param gati, right? So the Supreme Lord's abode. And that place from which, having attained, one never returns. No? So yad katva ananivartante tatama paramam mama. And here the same thing. No, here Krishna mentions in a different way. Yam prapya. No, after attaining that, na nivartante. No, after attaining that, nobody comes back. So tattama, such a kind of a place is my place. Paramam mama. No, taddama paramam mama. Purport. The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dhama. Chintamani Prakarasadmasha Kalpa Vriksha Laksha Vrate Shishurabi Ravipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Right? A place where all desires are fulfilled. No Kalpa Vriksha is there, and Kamadenu is there. So all the desires are fulfilled. And Chintamani, no, the dust particles are Chintamani. So the supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatables upon demand. And there are cows known as Surabhi cows, which supply a limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddess of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primeval Lord, and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venum Panantam. His transcendental form is most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals. The color of his body is like the color of clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids, Kandar Pakoti. And he wears saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. So Bhargavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam. Okay. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in Brahma Samhita. Vedic literatures, Katha Upanishad 1.3.11 states that there is nothing superior to the abode of Supreme Godhead, and that the abode is the ultimate destination. Purushan Purushan na param kinchit sa kashtha paramagatihi. When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavan, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of that supreme Goloka Vrindavan located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descends on this earth, he is ported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan, comprising about 168 square miles in the district of Mathura, India. Okay, text 22. Purushaha sap parapartha bhaktya labhyastva ananyaya yashyantah stani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The supreme personality of Godhead, who's greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. Purport: it is here clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return to the abode of sorry, it is here clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return is the abode of Krishna, the supreme person. The Brahma Samhita describes this supreme abode as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Bisthabhayeva Nijarupa Taya Kalavi Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. All the variegatedness manifest there is of quality of spiritual bliss. Nothing there is material. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead Himself. For the manifestation, there is totally of the spiritual energy as explained in the chapter 7. As far as the material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, he is nonetheless all pervading in his material energy. So, by his spiritual and material energies, he is present everywhere. So that's one of the important understandings, that the Lord is there is nothing else apart from the Lord in the whole creation. The Lord and his energies. The Lord is there, and his spiritual energies are there, and material energies are there, and that comprises the entire creation, and nothing else apart from that is there, right? So everything that exists is no Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. As far as this material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, he is nonetheless all pervading by his material energy. So by his spiritual and material energies, he is present everywhere, both in the material and in the spiritual universes. Yashyantaha Sthani means that everything is sustained within him. No, he is also called as Param Dhamma. No, that person who accommodates everything within him, right? So here also a different version is given. Yashantah Sthani means everything is sustained within him, within either his spiritual or material energy. The Lord is all pervading by these two energies. To enter Krishna's supreme abode or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktya. No other process can help one attain the supreme abode. The Vedas, Gopalatapani Upanishad 121, also describes the supreme abode and the supreme personality of Godhead. Eko Eko Vashi Sarvagaha Krishnaha. In that abode, there is only one supreme personality of Godhead, whose name is Krishna. He is the supreme merciful deity, uh, and although situated there as one, he has expanded himself into millions and millions of plenary expansions. The Vedas compare the Lord to a tree standing still yet bearing many varieties of fruits, flowers, and changing leaves. The plenary expansion of the Lord, who presides over the Vaikuntha planets, are four armed, and they are known by a variety of names: Purushottama, Trivikrama, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Narayana, Vamana, Padmanabha, etc. Okay. So the Brahma Samhita 537 also confirms that although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, Goloka Vrindavan, he is all pervading so that everything is going on nicely. Goloka eva nivashati akilatma bhutaha. So he is, where he is nivasa sthala, so it is Goloka eva. No, he is staying in Goloka. So, but then akilatma bhuta, same time he is there everywhere. Hmm? As stated in the Vedas, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8, Parashu Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. His energy are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away. Okay. Yatra kale tva anavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginah prayatha yanti tam kalam vakshami bharatarshaba. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Okay, so we will do this later tomorrow. So I will stop here. I have a few more engagements are there. So this is another topic that is starting. So we will do it tomorrow. So we will stop here today. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon ki jai. Hare Krishna.